I'm from Sierra Leone. I came to America as an immigrant, and I need to tell you something most Africans won't admit. We arrive in this country looking down on African Americans. And we have no right to, no history, no context, no right. When I went back to Sierra Leone in my early teens, we were reading Jane Austen, Charles Dickens, Shakespeare in school. You know who we never read? W.E.B. Du Bois. James Baldwin, Toni Morrison. Not one, not ever, not once. That is not an accident. That's colonial education designed to disconnect us from our history, from our struggle, from each other. Before Africans come to America, we know nothing about African Americans except music videos and movies. We see the poverty, we see the violence, we see the performance, but we do not see the policy. We don't see the history. We don't see the 400 years of theft. We don't know that every single right we have as African immigrants, every protection, every opportunity, every door that opens exists because African Americans bled for it. The Civil Rights Act, the voting rights, fair housing, that wasn't given, that was taken. They faced police dogs, fire hoses, bombs in churches. They were lynched for organizing, assassinated for speaking. And we benefit from it the second we step off the plane, but we don't learn that. We're never taught that. We arrive ignorant and call it pride. So we come to America carrying white supremacist thought, and we don't even know it. We look at African Americans and think, why can't they just work hard like us? Why are they so angry? Why don't they pull themselves up? We repeat that. We believe it. We become it. We judge without remembering they're descendants of people, of us, who were enslaved for 400 years, then denied everything after emancipation. We don't know about redlining. We don't know about sharecropping, convict leasing, the destruction of Black Wall Street. We don't know about COINTELPRO. We don't know the government-orchestrated crack epidemic. We don't know wealth compounds, and African Americans were systematically prevented from building any. We judge them for the effects. We ignore the cause. We repeat the lie. White supremacy is brilliant. It separated us before we ever met. It taught Africans we're better, more dignified, more hardworking, more pure. It taught us to see African Americans as lazy, criminal, inferior. Meanwhile, it taught African Americans that Africans sold them, which is true but incomplete because it erases European demand, European ships, European guns, European economic system that created the trade. The system wins when we're divided, when we say, I'm not like them. We're doing white supremacy's work, people, for free, with pride, with ignorance, wrapped in respectability. African Americans built this country with their hands, with their blood, with their bodies turned into capital. Then they were freed into a system designed to re-enslave them. Then they organized, then they fought, then they died, and then they won the rights the whole world benefits from. The anti-colonial movements in Africa were inspired by the Black Power movement. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X influenced liberation struggles globally. African Americans gave us language, strategy, and vision to fight oppression everywhere. And we repay them with judgment. We repay them with distance. We repay them by repeating white supremacist talking points. We have to address this ignorance. We have to stop it. We have to end it. We're not better. We're not smarter. We're not more deserving. We're just luckier to avoid the specific machinery of American anti-Blackness. But make no mistake, to white supremacy, we're all the same. The moment we stop being useful, we're just another target. We need to learn African American history. We need to read their thinkers, their revolutionaries. We need to read their poets, understand their struggle, not as separate from ours, but as the foundation beneath our feet. If you're African, immigrant, Caribbean, anyone who came here and benefited from African American blood, you owe them your respect. You owe them your solidarity. You owe them the humility to learn before you judge. Stop peddling white supremacist thought. Stop distancing yourself to feel safe. Stop letting the system use you as a wedge against the people who built the road you're walking on. We're all Black in America, all of us, every single one. The sooner we stand together, not in competition, not in judgment, but in recognition, the sooner we can all be free. The ignorance has to end. It starts with us. It starts with admitting we carried it here, over the Atlantic. It starts with putting it down.
Wow, I could have said it better than him because a lot of Africans were fed many stereotypes about the Black Americans, largely because of history, because of power, because of information control, not because these stereotypes were true. And a good example is during the colonial rule, the European power controlled the African education system and also controlled the African media. Then it went ahead and taught Africans to admire Europe and distrust the people of African descent in the Americas. At the same time, it portrayed the Black Americans as failed Africans. And this actually helped the colonizers to argue that Africans needed European civilization to avoid all this phase. And all of this was just to justify the colonial domination and also the white supremacy. So when I came across the videos of these Africans explaining all these stereotypes that they were fed by the Black Americans, I was so glad because some of the Africans, they still have those stereotypes in them, that the Black Americans are all those things they were taught by those kind of people. So guys, welcome back to Afrojudy's channel. I really appreciate your massive love and support. This video is strictly for educational purposes only. Kindly give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're coming across this channel for the very first time. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. So let's unpack this episode together.
As an African living in the United States, I used to share the same sentiment that Africans share about African Americans because I had a hard time when I first moved here. People used to always tell me, "You're not black enough, you're an Oreo, you're secretly white on the inside," as if I wasn't literally from Africa. But I now understand after living here for 8 years that black in the United States is a very specific criteria, and anything outside of that just doesn't fit. But I want to help African Americans understand that Africans coming to the United States are immigrants, first and foremost. Then they are Nigerian or Senegalese or whatever country they're from. And then at some point, they are black. But Africans don't put black high up on their identity well as much as African Americans do. And that is for legitimate reasons on both ends. And so when an African is coming to the United States, they're thinking to themselves, okay, I'm an immigrant here. I have to do my best for myself and my family back home. The sacrifices that took for me to get here were no light work, okay? So I need to really align myself with what's going to make me successful in this country. And because it's the United States, it's the dominant culture, which is white American culture. And so Africans are going to instinctively ally themselves with the culture that's going to give them the most success. I mean, African Americans even admit that they have to code switch to be successful here because that's what brings success. And so Africans are like, all right, we'll do that. And it also doesn't help that for a long time, Africans are fed a very negative view of Black American culture, and that's its own propaganda. But because Africans are so conservative and they're coming to a country where Black Americans have been labeled as the antithesis to this conservative traditional family values, they have, if anything, more in common with Southern Baptist white racist people. But that aside, going back to identity markers, Black Americans put Black first and foremost, and then everything else goes below it. And so they're thinking when another Black people come to our country, they're going to want to integrate with us, the other Black people, because Black comes first. And they get quickly disappointed in realizing that for Africans, Black and the identity and that coming is not first. Their immigrant identity comes first, and then their country. And if anything, for us as Africans to feel like that's my brother, that's my brethren, or whatever, you have to come from the same tribe as us, because we have so many Black people around, we don't automatically pre-select for Black. But Black Americans don't have so many Black people around, have had to defend and protect their culture amidst a dominant white culture, and so they already pre-select and are overprotective for Black. And so that's why I think at the core of it, there's a deep misunderstanding because of not realizing that we put where we put our identity markers and what we put first and what we prioritize are so different culturally because of our differences in trauma, realistically. And so it does make sense that Black Americans will be like, oh, my people, my brethrens, come here. And African Americans, or Africans, coming to the United States are like, I'm just trying to make it here. It's a lot of work to immigrate to the United States. And so y'all can stay over there, and I can see why it's hurtful, and I can see why it's taken personally, and I can see the deep misunderstanding and the betrayal that African Americans feel but it's unfortunate, and that's just a reality. But if we can talk about it from this perspective, I think we can get to a better understanding. But I also believe that Africans that spend enough time in the United States get to this compassion and understanding of the Black American community, because it is a very unique and specific set of circumstances for a culture to grow and to develop.
Imagine playing a game where the rules are rigged against you from the start. Every time you take a step forward, the game changes and the goalposts are moved further away. This is the reality that African Americans have faced here in America. A never-ending struggle where for centuries the odds have been stacked against them. I have to admit, when I first moved here to America, I used to hear harmful rhetoric from my African friends, my relatives. Oh, Akata people are lazy. Akata this, Akata that. What I didn't understand is that African Americans have been playing a rigged game their entire existence here in the United States. Underfunded schools, liquor stores, drugs rampant around every block in their neighborhoods, redlining and rezoning, taking away healthy grocery stores, replacing them with fast food chains, having to be overqualified just to apply to entry-level jobs and menial jobs. African Americans have built, fought, bled for this country despite the system being rigged against them. They were not given a fair start. They were not given a fair shot. Yet they still managed to endure and persevere. It's time we stop letting stereotypes and harmful rhetoric break us down. Together, we can rewrite the rules. Our strength lies in unity. Together, we can win this game. We can create a game where we all win. Are you ready to play the game?
Even though I want to disagree with you, I get where you're coming from. When I see Black people talking about racism, all that stuff, I'm like, what is wrong with these people? You guys have food, you have EBT, all this thing, and you're here shouting about somebody is racist too. Just leave that person and move on. I feel that way. Like, why are they always like complaining? But when Black Lives Matters started happening, like, I sat down, I said, I need to actually know why these people are pained. And if we look at the history, what they've done to them, like if you actually sit down, watch some documentaries, how they were maltreated, I don't think if I'm actually born, I will forgive those people. I don't care. It's easier for us Africans that were raised in Africa to feel like they're complaining because we were raised through struggle. Like I barely even have water, and you have water, you're complaining. But then it's not about the basic necessity or about how we are raised. We are raised like, I don't want to say way better. We might not have resources, but there are some way, like our own people will not look down on us or put us behind. So it's in their nurture that way. Like they just can't overlook it. And if you sit down and watch everything that the forefathers have been through for you, I changed my mind. No, they need to be angry. However, they should still move forward.
I feel like a lot of Africans don't understand the African American experience. I never knew until I came here and started learning the history of what happened here. Like all the way from the end of slavery, Jim Crow laws, redlining, the civil rights movement, the pipeline from the school to prison pipeline.
The prison industrial complex.
Yeah, like all of this stuff. I don't think Africans have an idea of all these things that are put against African Americans to become successful. Like even the Africans that are brought here, we're brought and we're put into like nicer neighborhoods. They don't put us in Southside Chicago in like the worst neighborhoods where you literally have to get a gun to survive, where you have to, like, you're fighting for your life. They put us in nice neighborhoods, and then
talk about the churches, how they will indoctrinate you.
How white people are nicer to Africans than African Americans.
Like charity that is given to Africans through these, religious organizations and just like philanthropy. It's like, we got to help these people in Africa. And that's a whole other conversation in itself. That white savior conversation in itself, but we receive like a sympathetic lens on
so acknowledge the fact that happens over here in the United States, but then you have the mirror on the other side. If you're African American and you go to these other countries, especially these Muslim countries, these European countries, if you have that American visa, it's different.
Yeah.
Compared to if you're just Sudanese going to
just
African. you're not having the same experience.
The American visa hits differently.
Things that nobody told you as a new African immigrant. Look, There are just some things nobody talks about, but if you come here, you'll be shocked, okay? Number one is this: making friends in America is very hard. It's hard, okay? I don't care what anybody says, it's hard, okay? Listen, this is not Africa where you can just walk around, your neighbors will greet you, your coworkers will greet you. No, you can go 1 week here, nobody will say anything to you, okay? So you have to be intentional about talking to people, meeting new people, trying your best to connect with people. You have to put in effort, okay? Number two is, if you hate where you are staying right now, all of the different cities and states in America are very different. The vibe is different, okay? So if you hate where you are, get a cheap bus ticket, literally $50, $70. Go to the next city, go to the next state, and just go explore. You might like it better, okay? I hope this helps. Good luck.
Well, these people are really trying so hard to divide and conquer by creating tension between the Africans and the Black Americans to prevent the global Black unity, because they know very well that if Black people across the globe unite together, something so huge is going to happen, and maybe the Black people are going to take over in power. And that is what they really don't want. They just want Black people to be divided across the globe. And secondly, I really appreciate all the Africans who are taking their time to learn the Black American history, who are now understanding the Black America struggles, and also admitting the stereotypes they were taught about the Black Americans. Because honestly, majority of the Africans were taught these stereotypes about the Black Americans. Like, for instance, that the Black Americans are lazy, that the Black Americans are criminals, that the Black Americans hate Africans, that the Black Americans are so loud and aggressive. Name them, all those negative stereotypes about the Black Americans, simply because these people wanted us to appreciate and admire Europe, and at the same time distrust the Black people across the globe, especially those who are in America. And all of this was just to justify the colonial domination and also white supremacy. And again, the Africans who have migrated to the United States are now understanding it even way better, because they are there, they have seen all these struggles that the Black Americans are going through. And again, not all the Africans who have migrated in the United States are understanding this. Some of them still have that stereotype that the Black Americans are all those things they were taught about these people. And that's why when they go there, some end up disrespecting the Black Americans. Some end up turning their back against the Black Americans, not knowing that the Black Americans have fought for them, have fought for the civil rights, have made sure that they are enjoying those good fruits that they have there. And secondly, there are some things that the Black Americans have been trying to warn the immigrants, not only the African immigrants, that when they come to the United States, they should expect those things. But you know what? They always tell us that grass is greener on the other side, and that when we get there, we are going to become richer as fast as possible. Maybe by next month or maybe by next week, you will be richer. But wait until you get to that land, and the systems rounds you off to negative zero, because first, you are an immigrant there. Maybe you have never been there. Maybe you are alone there. Your family is back in Africa, back at home in Africa. You are alone in a native land, and you have to do all these things by yourself. When the home fever starts to hit, that is where, or that is when the reality hits so hard, because you will realize that if you cannot do it there, you better go back to Africa. And again, at the same time, something comes to your mind that if you go back to Africa, how are the people back at home going to portray you? Because they knew so well that maybe Judy went to the United States to do this, to work as a student, as who, and now she's back home in Africa. What happened? And that's when the people will start making a lot of jokes about you. Leave alone now the home fever. That loneliness that comes in when you are in a foreign country. Like, you don't know what you can do. Making friends that time is so hard, because in Western countries, people have trust issues. I'm sorry to say this, but that is the reality. Not like in Africa. That communal life that we have in Africa it is so rare in a majority of these Western countries, and that's why when you see these Africans relocating to the Western countries, then at one particular time they start crying on the internet that they can't take it anymore because they didn't expect that the culture shock is so real. And again, the kind of food that is there, I've been seeing the Black Americans exposing the food that is being taken in the Western countries and how it is like how some of them are so harmful to the human life. You know, in Africa, majority of people are so much used to the organic food. You go get it directly from the garden, or when you go to shop, you know how to differentiate between the organic food and the GMOs. So when Africans relocate to these Western countries, they always find it so hard, especially to cope up with this kind of food there, to cope up with some of the junky food are there. And again, when it comes to work, you will have to work. There is no joke in Western countries. You will have to work all day, all night for you to get to that dream that you have been dreaming of. And at the same time, there is also black tax that is waiting for you to pay. And by black tax, I mean you have to send money back home. Those people are waiting for you to send money because they know, like, I think some of them always think that in the Western countries people are planting money, or people have money ready to go and pluck then send to them, not knowing that people are working their ass off in Western countries. It is not easy, but it takes time for your family or maybe for your friends to start understanding that it is not easy. Getting that money is not easy, but majority of them will not understand. If you refuse to send to them, they will start calling you uh, some sort of names like you are so mean, maybe you don't want to talk with them, you are another person, you have changed a lot since you moved to that country. Maybe this person is battling with mental health, you never know. Some of the Africans have ended up unaliving themselves, especially in the Western countries, because they had no one to share their experience with. Back at home, no one believed them because they knew that if they're in the Western countries, they are making it so easily. So, when the Black Americans warned people, especially the Africans, about all these struggles they have been through, some of them took it on a lighter note because they knew that it is so easy there, and it's only that the Black Americans are lazy, and that's why they don't want to do it the way it is supposed to be done. Now that they are there, they are seeing it, they are finding it so hard, even they can't withstand it. So, guys, let me know what you think about this. And I'm so glad that they are coming out and expressing and explaining all these things. And apart from that, even the Black Americans, there are some stereotypes they were fed about the uh, Africans, which is there. And again, there are some stereotypes both Africans and the African Americans or the Black Americans were taught about each other. So when we can overcome all these things, if we can unite globally as Black people, you can see whatever is going to happen in this world, because it's scaring a lot of these people, and that's why they are so much against the Black unity. So guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I honestly appreciate your massive love and support. Until next time, let's meet on my next episode. Peace and love.